Hello, everybody, and welcome to Favorite Rugby on Favorite Sports for today's combined 15 of the first test between the Springboks and Wales, where the Springboks won 32 points to 29 thanks to a last-minute drop goal by Damien Willemse, who, spoiler alert, does make the 15. Basically, we used to do this quite a lot in the past, and we are bringing it back. It is a look at who, in my opinion, were the top 15 performances on the day between the 46 players who did take the park. So I look at the 223s and the individual performances, and if I were to make a combined 15 of the best players, this is who I would pick. And it's quite a difficult one to do because some players, or some positions rather, are quite close. Quite a few different players are vying for it. Other positions were quite easy in terms of there being a standout in that position, or else their counterpart being really poor, for example, and as a result, they get in by default. So it's always going to be quite a controversial thing. So please, I want to know what your opinions are down in the comments below. Please let me know who you would pick, some of your thoughts are on some of the performances and stuff like that. I want to know what you guys think down in the comments. Please also do smash a like on the video. Please do subscribe to the channel as well. And we'll be doing a lot of build-up during the week. The Springbok announcement is tomorrow at 12 o'clock. We will be live shortly afterwards talking about the Springbok lineup. Expect quite a few changes. It looks like Evan Roos is set to make his debut, so we'll have to wait and see what's going to happen tomorrow. The Welsh announcement will then take place on Thursday before the second test, which is at Bloemfontein on Saturday, and should be an absolute cracker. Wales definitely feeling a lot more confident, I think, on the back of that kind of performance against the Springboks, and the world champions under a lot of pressure to really rock up and put in the performance that people kind of expected to see them do in the first test. So they were under quite a lot of pressure, and I think, Wales was very much in the sort of the situation of nothing to lose, everything to gain. And those are always quite dangerous situations to be in when you play a team like that. But in terms of the team for this week, this is what I have gone with. So in the front row, I've gone with Stephen Kitsoff, Malcolm Marx, and Dylan Lewis. Now, at Lucy, I thought it was quite difficult. I didn't think that Gareth Thomas had a poor game. I didn't think Oxen Share had a poor game. I just think in the first half and the sort of the first 60 minutes, there weren't that many scrums. There weren't that many opportunities for these players to really impose themselves. And I didn't think we saw too much of them. I was very impressed with what I saw from Stephen Kitsoff when he came on, because he just doesn't make mistakes. I think that's the biggest thing about him, is he is such a consistent player in terms of always playing at a very high level, incredibly reliable when it comes to, for example, your scrum performances in the loose, in terms of a ball carrier, very good at defense. He's very good at the breakdown as well. And I thought that he looked very up to scratch on Saturday when he came on. As did Malcolm Marx, who adds a whole different dimension. Somebody who I think is criminally underrated because never gets recognized. I don't really see a hooker in the world who's better than Malcolm Marx at the moment. And I think that he just is the full package because he's, now that he's sort of worked a lot on his set pieces, he's fantastic over the ball. He's really good in the loose. He's a very good defender. He's a very good ball carrier. But he's also a very intelligent ball carrier. He's got a good set of hands on him. And he had to have, because that's why he worked so well at the Lions. And I thought that he looked very impressive coming on over the weekend. I've gone with Dylan Lewis because he actually had to play 79 minutes overall. And I think that Frans Maherbe had a pretty solid game. Again, didn't have too much scrums to work with. Did win a scrum penalty, though, up against Gareth Thomas in the first half. But I thought that Dylan Lewis, considering he had to play 79 minutes, held his own as much as I don't think anybody could. I don't think there are too many tight heads in the world who would have done a better job than what he did on Saturday. Because as a tight head, you don't plan on playing in 80 minutes. But after that freak injury to Thomas Francis, who is okay, by the way, and could even be in line to play the third test, he literally walked off, and Thomas Francis's first involvement in the game causes concussion, which then saw Dylan Lewis being thrown back onto the park, and he had to deal with Oxenshare first up, and then Stephen Kitsoff. And I thought that he coped relatively well, or definitely as well as anybody could have in the circumstances. So he gets into number 3 there for me. I thought the locks are quite easy to pick. I thought that Will Rowlands probably had the best game I've ever seen him play in a Welsh jersey, and I think some of the Welsh journalists at the press conference where he was there today also made mention of the fact that they hadn't really seen him play that well. And I think that Wales physically stood up to the Springboks, and I think that he was at the forefront of that. His ball carrying, his defensive work, his line-out work, for example. He disrupted that line-out, which they then managed to create a try early on in the game. I thought that he did very, very little wrong, and I think that he very much outplayed the British and Irish Lions player that is Adam Beard. And in many ways, I thought the same about Lua Diaga. Now, Lua Diaga is a quality player, but Eben Etzebeth is set to become a test match centurion. So he was very much sort of the star lock on display, and yet I thought Leo Diaga had a much better game than his other lock counterpart, and he wasn't faultless. He did give away a couple of penalties. There were a couple of poor moments from Leo Diaga, but nobody had a faultless game. But I did feel that he was one of the few forwards who was really getting over the game line. He was looking to bring other players into the game, looking for offloads. He had a couple of very important runs. He looked like a player who wants to make a difference. A little bit like Jasper Wiese in terms of there were some mistakes in his game, but he made a difference. And he made a very noticeable difference. So I thought that he was very good in what was almost a losing course for the Springboks, had they not come back towards the end of the second half. In terms of the loose trio, Tommy Raffaele I thought was fantastic on debut. I think he ended up with 15 tackles. I think he made 2 turnovers. He looked very much at home in that Welsh side. Did not look like somebody who was on debut. Definitely did not get overwhelmed by the occasion and looked very comfortable in that jersey. And I think we will see a lot more of him. He's potentially touted as a potential future captain, as somebody who is captain at junior levels. He played with. Jasper Wiese spoke very highly of him because the two played with each other at the Leicester Tigers, and I thought that 23-year-old definitely deserves another opportunity this weekend. Number 7, I'll go with Kwagga Smith. First of all, I thought Dan Didier probably had a better game than Franco Mostert, for example. I thought Siya Kolisi had a pretty quiet game. But I didn't think Dan Didier played badly at all. I thought that he did what he had to do. But I do think that Kwagga Smith came on and made a very noticeable difference. He added a lot of speed and impotence to the Springbok attack. And he's somebody who's taken quite a long time to really feel settled, I think, into that Springbok squad. But he's now got a very unique role. He adds a lot of energy into the Springboks in that second half. And whilst he doesn't come with a lot of bulk, for example, he's got acceleration, he's got a fantastic skill set, and he's a bit of a menace just around the park because he gets around the park so quickly. Fantastic breakdown work, and he's always a sort of support runner. He's always getting back when it comes to like rush defense, for example. He'll always be one of the first players back, and I think that he's become invaluable to the Springboks 23. Jasper Wiese, man of the match, is the obvious choice, number 8, although I did think that Talapa Faletau did have a very good game. So number 8, probably the hardest position to pick between two players, because I thought that Faletau was very good and looking sort of making steps towards getting back to his best. And Faletau at his best is a world beater. So that will be a bit of a scary prospect if he does get to that level during the series. But I thought Jasper Wiese, after a very shaky start, was very solid under the high ball. He was a human battering ram. He brought a lot of physicality, a lot of go-forward ball, and I think that he is still looking to bring that form from the Premiership into the Springboks. And we definitely saw one of the reasons why he had such a good season for the Leicester Tigers in terms of his ball-carrying ability on the weekend. I was very impressed with Kieran Hardy, who partners Dan Biggar in the halfback combination I've gone with. I thought Kieran Hardy's box kicks were incredibly accurate, and I think that Faf de Klerk really struggled in the first half. He was pretty inaccurate, made a couple of silly decisions, and I think that he came back a lot better in the second half. But overall, I was actually very impressed with Kieran Hardy, who's not played a tremendous amount of games for Wales. I think Saturday was his 10th game or 10th cap for Wales, so he has not had a lot of experience, but he brings a very good skill set, a very solid player, and I was very impressed with him. Dan Biggar got a yellow card, did miss conversion, but he kind of gets there by default because, first of all, Alton Yankees had a shocker, and second of all, Phil and Damien Willemse kind of shared the number 10 duties in the second half, so there wasn't really another recognized 10. So Dan Biggar kind of getting there by default. But to be fair to him, I didn't think he had a terrible game. Despite the yellow card, the drop goal was very impressive. Genuinely, I thought that he kicked pretty well. Defensively, he was pretty solid. Apart from, he did step out the way of Jasper Wiese, but did bring him down in the process. Josh Adams again, who I didn't think played particularly well. I was very tempted with Owen Watkins just because he replaced him. But Michael Zuma-Pimpi touched the ball once and made one tackle. That was his entire involvement. He did get rounded by Louis Rees-Zammit for the first try. So, there was no way you could put Michael Zuma-Pimpi into that team. And by default, Josh Adams kind of gets in there. Although he did get beaten by Cheslin Colby. The centres, Damon Delendi, Lukhanyo I think did outplay George North and Nick Tompkins. I was quite disappointed with Nick Tompkins. I thought that he was going to be a very interesting player to watch. I don't think he got as much opportunity to impress as he would like. But Damon Delendi, very nice try assist for Cheslin Colby. I initially thought it was the wrong option, but proved out to be very good. Lukhanyo quite a quiet game from him, but as usual, he just sort of manages to affect the game in small, subtle ways. You know, he won that breakdown penalty, which was quite important. Defensively, always very solid, but the Springboks need to try and use him a little bit more. It wasn't particularly difficult to pick Louis Rees-Zammit after scoring a brace and looking very, very sharp. He's a very dangerous player, Louis Rees-Zammit. I think he will go on and play 100 tests for Wales and be in the next British and Irish Lions squad if he keeps progressing like he has. He's a very impressive player and very, very lethal player the Springboks do need to be quite cautious of. And then at 15, Damian Willemse, one of the best games, if not the best game we've seen him have in a Springbok jersey. Very solid under the high ball, very solid defensively. Always looked like he was going to make a difference on the attack. He looked like he was playing with a lot of time, and I think that we need to see more of Damian Willemse within the box here because he's playing with so much confidence at the moment that if we can get him playing at his best, he could be a world beater. And I think, there was a lot of criticism towards the fact that he was going to play at fullback, but I thought he had an absolute stormer of a game, and hopefully we'll see a lot more of him. Something like Cheslin Colby, probably a little bit unlucky to not get into the side. We probably could have pushed him to 11, but I don't really like playing players out of position just for the sake of getting people in, but that probably would have been a better reflection of the two best wings. Apart from that, I think Falatau probably unlucky not to get in there. I think Dan Lidded had a reasonable game. Frans Maherbe, for example, didn't do anything wrong. I don't think Bongi Manambi was terrible. But that's what I've gone with. Let me know what you would go with down in the comments below. Please do smash a like on the video, subscribe to the channel as well. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Steven, and I'll chat to you soon.